Good morning, students. Types of chemical reactions. Unit 10. Types of chemical reactions. We will learn in today's class a rate of chemical reactions. What is the rate of chemical reaction? Important of chemical reaction. What are the factors influencing the rate of chemical reaction? Rate of chemical reaction, important of chemical reaction, and factors influencing the rate of chemical reaction. First, the rate of a chemical reaction. How will you determine which is the fastest and which is the slowest reaction? How will you determine which is the fastest and which is the slowest reaction? One of the ways to find out how fast a reaction is, they measure the amount of reactant or products before and after a specific period of time. In some of the chemical reactions, the nature of the reactants also increase or decrease the chemical reaction. And second, the concentration of the reactants also increase or decrease the chemical reaction. Third, temperature is also increase or decrease the chemical reactions. Then catalyst also take part in a chemical reaction. Pressure is also increase or decrease the chemical reactions. Then surface area of the reactant is also take part in the chemical reactions. How will you determine which is the fastest and which is the slowest reaction? For example, 100 gram of a substance A undergoes a reaction and after an hour 50 gram of A is left. This is the first example. 100 gram of a substance A undergoes a reaction and after an hour 50 gram of A is left. A gives the product. In another instance or in another reaction, 100 gram of a substance C undergoes a reaction and after an hour 20 gram of C is left. We have to compare these two type of reactions. The first reaction 100 gram is only take part. The second reaction also the reactant 100 gram. This is after the reaction. This is after an hour back. Here also 1 hour time. Here in the first reaction 50 gram of A is left. In the second reaction 20 gram of C is left. C gives a product. From these two reactions, which is the fast reaction? In the first reaction, 50 gram of the reactant A is converted into products. The first reaction, 50 gram of the reactant A is converted into products. In the second reaction, 80 gram of the reactant is converted into products. The second reaction, 80 gram of the reactant is converted into products in 1 hour. Both reactions also occur in the same time, that is 1 hour time. So the second reaction is faster. This measurement is called the reaction rate or rate of the reactions. The rate of the reaction is also important in a chemical reactions. What is the rate of the reaction? This is important. What is the rate of the reaction? Rate of the reaction is a change in the amount or concentration of any one of the reactants or products per unit time. Rate of a reaction is the change in the amount or concentration of any one of the reactants or products per unit time. This is a rate of a reaction. As an example, consider the following reaction. A gives B. The reactant A gives the product B. The rate of this reaction is given by the rate is equal to minus dA by dt. Temperature is equal to plus dB by dt. In these reactions, consider these two reactions. A means that is concentration of A. B concentration of B. A and B. A means that is concentration of A. B means that is a concentration of B. The negative sign indicates, so this is a negative sign. The negative sign indicates the decreases in the concentration of A with the time. Particular time is only involved in this reaction. The negative sign indicates the decrease in the concentration of A with time. This is negative sign. The positive sign, this is a positive sign. The positive sign indicates the increase in the concentration of B with time. Okay, A and B, negative sign, positive sign. The bracket represents the concentration. D represents the infinitesimal, that is immeasurable change in the concentration. The D represents the infinitesimal, that is immeasurable change in the concentration, that is D. T means time. Y is a reaction rate is important. The faster the reaction, the more will be the amount of the product. Faster the reaction, more will be the amount of the product in a specified time. So, the rate of a reaction is important for a chemist for designing a process. So, this is an important point. The rate of a reaction is important for a chemist for designing a process to get a good yield of a product. So, rate of the reaction is also important for a food processor who hopes to slow down the reactions that cause food to spoil. So, this is an important thing. Why is reaction rate is important? Faster the reaction, more will be the amount of the product in the specified time. The important factors that affect the rate of the reactions. What are the important factors affect the rate of a chemical reactions? The important factors are nature of the reactants, concentration of the reactant, temperature, catalyst, pressure and surface area of the reactants. Nature of the reactant, whether it is a solid form or in the liquid form, it is also affect the rate of the chemical reaction. The concentration, the molarity of the reactants is also increase or decrease the chemical reaction. Next, temperature. Temperature is increased, the rate of the chemical reaction is also increased. So temperature is increased, rate of the chemical reactions also increased. In some of the reactions is occur in the presence of catalyst. So catalyst is used in a chemical reaction. The reaction rate is also increased. So pressure is also important thing in the chemical reactions. The surface area of the reactant is also influence the rate of the chemical reactions. The factors affecting the rate of the reaction, nature of the reactants, concentration of the reactants, temperature, and a catalyst. These are also important in a chemical reaction. Thank you, students.